The battle for the mind of North America will be fought in the video arena.
Okay.
When you're going to turn it on, just do like this.
Go
Says
up?
batteries.
Okay. Oh, yeah. All right. Good evening, everybody. Could we please get a seat? Sheldon, up at the front, up here. Yeah, up in the front row. Okay. All righty. Thank you, everyone, for coming to our turnout for the school board trustees and the counselor nominees. My name is Leslie, and your host for this evening. Most announcements will be saved until the end of tonight in the interest of time. So please be seated after when Renee is finished with her presentation, and we'll have another couple of minutes at that point. Cell phones off, vibrate only, or airplane mode, please, so that we don't disrupt our guest speakers tonight. Bathrooms are down the hallway and to the left. Before we begin this part of the evening, I want to share a few thoughts about the current state of the world. In recent years, we have witnessed waves of unrest and resistance, originated in Canada with the convoy movement back in 22, gradually spreading across the globe. We have seen farmers in Holland rise up with similar movements in Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, Poland, Germany, and this weekend, 3 million marched in England along with Tommy Robinson. Even nations such as China and Japan have experienced or are experiencing significant uprisings. These events demonstrate a global pattern of people standing against injustice and demanding change. And I love the British comment, for Charlie. We will take it from here. I thought that was awesome. It is clear that people everywhere have reached a tipping point. There is a shared sense in this room that society has had enough. Enough of political corruption, broken promises, unemployment, and governments that no longer serve or care for the people in their country. The situation has escalated in places like Nepal, where government buildings were burned to the ground and their politicians were removed. France, too, is in the midst of substantial upheaval. Yet these examples only scratch the surface of the challenges that we are all now facing. More alarming are the recent violent attacks that have shocked the consciousness of communities and people everywhere around the world. These include a horrific assault on a 3-year-old child requiring hours of reconstructive surgery, a young student in the United States tragically stabbed to death on a subway and dying alone. It was one of the most awful videos I've ever seen. The sterilization of children and the killing, of course, of Charlie Kirk, a national youth leader in the U.S., in front of his family, no less. These events raise profound questions. What is happening to our world? We are no longer united as one people. Across the globe, peace has been shattered, and the struggle between truth and evil continues with increasing intensity. It seems as if humanity itself is locked in a battle against chaos and irrationality. Yet, there are signs of hope. People everywhere are beginning to awaken from complacency. This awakening is not only necessary in Calgary, but across our entire beautiful country, which is being torn apart by division and unrest. The reason for addressing these concerns is clear. Violence has become all too common, even here at home. Simultaneously, billions of dollars are being spent irresponsibly with little or no accountability for how resources are used. The burden of taxes continues to rise, and businesses are struggling, closing down at a rate that far outpaces the emergence of new ventures. These issues boil down to a fundamental conflict between control and freedom. In Calgary, we now have the opportunity to correct the missteps of the past 12 years. By working together and supporting one another, we can restore this wonderful city to its former pride and vibrancy. This is a pivotal moment for the community, and it requires collective effort and commitment. It is crucial that we unite in support of our school board trustees and our councillor nominees who are stepping forward tonight to share their heartfelt visions for a better Calgary. These individuals are guided by strong principles and a huge sense of accountability. May their dedication inspire you. May they provide a platform where every voice can be heard, empowering the community to participate openly rather than being excluded from important decisions. Their commitment is to bring transparency, ending the long, long-standing secrecy that has overwhelmed our local governance. Above all, these devoted leaders need your support within their individual wards. Ask yourself, can you rise to the occasion and demonstrate that you are behind them, whether by distributing flyers, knocking on doors, attending meetings? Every effort counts. Let each nominee know that your assistance is available, as all of them rely on community backing to achieve meaningful change. By working together and setting a positive example, we can inspire other cities to follow our lead. Now is the time to dig in and get the job done. Tonight marks the start of an important journey for these school board trustees and councillor nominees. With your help, they will advocate for all of us over the next 4 years, and with continued support, perhaps even beyond. Let us commit to building a better future for Calgary, one rooted in unity, accountability, and shared purpose. Thank you. I'm going to call upon Dawn. She will deliver a brief tribute to Charlie Kirk in recognition of his life and contributions.
So in light of everything that's happened around Charlie Kirk, I just thought, talk a little closer. Oh, wow, okay. I was at the memorial last night, and there was thousands of people there gathered around to remember Charlie Kirk. I wanted to start off with a quote. This is a Charlie Kirk quote. You are commanded to go do something productive with your life, to give and produce, to risk and then go sow into other people. That is the biblical idea that has made the world a profoundly better place. Charlie Kirk. Charlie was an example of how to be generous and kind. He was kind to everyone that he met. He was the absolute example to us he was very controversial, but he was not condescending, and he set a great example of how to do that, how to engage with people from the other side. I just want to tell one quick story. Last night at the rally, there was a Palestinian protester. She came across the street, and I'm going to go talk to whoever's there. And I walked right up to her and I said, "Can I talk to you?" And she wouldn't talk to me. And then people that were quote unquote on our side came up and they started yelling at her. And I turned my back to her and I started yelling at those people that were yelling at her. And I said, "You leave her alone. You get back. She's got the freedom. We believe in freedom. Freedom means freedom for all." And I said, "You get back away from her. Jesus loves her too." And so she got very quiet, and then eventually the cops came and escorted her across the street. But, freedom means freedom for all. You catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. And so as you're having conversations with other people, just remember that. Just be kind and courageous and not condescending or mock them, because we'll get more people on our side that way. They'll see the light that way. We the people, I felt hope after last night. We the people can be the change. We the people can change our world. And so, yeah. And I just want to say lastly that Charlie knew Jesus as his Savior. And I encourage each one of you to pray and talk to God and ask him the direction he would want you to go and the conversations that you are supposed to have so that you too can make the world a better place. So thank you.
Thank you, Dawn. Roy? Roy, is it Bayer? Bayer, okay, sorry. He's the CEO of A Better Calgary. He will introduce the councillor nominees, followed by Cindy with the induction of the school board trustees.
Thanks. So, yeah, we're really blessed that we can gather, and we're about to get into the serious part of the municipal election. And, Roy Beyer, B-E-Y-E-R. Okay. And, basically, A Better Calgary Party, we have a table in the back. There's 7 of our candidates representing 7 wards. You might say, well, there's 14 wards in Calgary. And we have some really great candidates in those 7 wards. I think 4 of them are here tonight. So we cover off wards 1, 2, 3, 7, 9, 14, and 12, I think. Am I missing anyone? No, These are our candidates. So we have 7. So again, 1, 2, 3, and okay, just give me a second. 7, 9, 12, and 14. Now there's 2 other candidates here tonight where we've decided not to run in those wards because they're excellent, principled conservatives. Sheldon right here, and Mahmoud, wherever he is. These are friends of freedom, friends of principled conservatives. The most important thing that we're trying to do with our party is to try to avoid vote splitting, right? We know the left, they've always been able to figure it out. Last election, the union bosses, they got together and picked one candidate for mayor, and guess who it was? And then candidates for every ward, one candidate for every ward. While we might, meanwhile, as conservatives or center-right or whatever you want to call it, we run good people against each other. And it's simple math. We lose every time when we do that, right? In the last federal election, just this past spring, 58% of Calgarians voted conservative. So then why do we keep having a left-leaning or radical left, very radical left, mayor and council? It's because of vote splitting. So a better Calgary party was organized to create the mechanism by which in the future we're going to avoid vote splitting. In the meantime, we did the best we could. We've decided to run 7 excellent candidates in 7 wards, but we're staying out of Ward 4 because Sheldon is an excellent candidate. Do you understand that? We're going to stay out of Ward 10, because again, Mahmoud is a friend and an excellent candidate. So we've got a strategy basically to encourage people to, first of all, know who our candidates are. They're excellent. They're all rock-solid, conservative, freedom-minded people. So any of ours, you can be, you're going to hear from them directly. But one of the ones that I think all of you would recognize, Kathy Jacobs from Angels Cafe, is our candidate in Ward 1. So that's pretty amazing. I won't mention the ones that are here tonight because they'll talk themselves. There's Keener down in Ward 12. He's as rock-solid freedom guy as you can possibly think. That's in Ward 14, actually. And then Mike Jameson down in Ward 14. You say, well, I don't know what ward I'm in from. No problem. We have a map on the back where you see Nancy there, Nancy wave. And there's a map. You can sort of figure out which ward you're in. And then eventually, if you've got one of our locals, you'll see who they are. Go to our website and you'll be able to get behind them. This is the important part. We cannot win without the help of the grassroots. The other side has money, but we should have is the people. And for an average candidate to win, they need at least 20 to 30 volunteers, okay? And between now and then, there's light at the end of the tunnel. It's not forever. It just suck it up and say, okay, I'm going to pick one of these candidates, my favorite or my candidate in my ward, and I'm going to get behind them. And the most important task that we need is what they call lit drop, literature drop, where you simply walk to every house and drop a piece of literature. I know somebody in her 70s, she dropped 5,000 pieces in Ward 11. Because I know, because the person said, do you know so-and-so? Yes, they're a freedom person. So you can do so much, and good exercise, really good shape. So, but then the last thing I want to mention, when you're doing lit drop, you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. If you pick your favorite school board candidate, like Dar over here, if you lit drop in either Ward 12 or 14, you're also free as a volunteer to lit drop for the school board candidate in that ward. You can do the same thing for Dr. Joni. Doctor is in Ward 3 and 4. So, Sheldon is Ward 4, Christine is Ward 3. You can lit drop for either one of them and at the same time lit drop for the school board trustee. So we can do this. We can do this. We need to spread the word, get behind those freedom candidates, those principled conservatives. And we're going to, on our website, beyond our 7, we're going to be recommending in every single ward who you should support to try and get to a place where we can finally, after over 20 years of a messed up council and mayor, finally try to get over the threshold of 8 or more conservatives to finally be in charge of City Hall. It's a little bit harder for us Conservatives because we always find a way to split the vote. But AVC Party is about doing everything we can to bring people together. So that's all I want to say. Again, the 4 candidates that we're going to have speaking is Christine is in Ward 3. Anthony is in Ward 7. That's my ward. Anthony, with the hat. There's Tony in Ward 9. And then John Garden is over in Ward 2. Like I said, that you're going to hear from any one of them. I think that's all of our guys tonight, but there's 7 altogether. Kathy Jacobs has a big forum that she just had to speak to on blanket rezoning, right? And the last thing I'll say, just in 30 seconds, the big issues. As Freedom people, as Conservatives, we have to remember City Council does not make every decision in the world. You have to discern between what is a federal issue, what is a provincial issue, and what is a council issue, a city issue. City should be staying out of healthcare. A council member has no business going into that world, right? So once you understand what the important decisions are for City Council, the fact that all these candidates, including Sheldon, Mahmoud, and all the rest, number 1, get rid of blanket rezoning, okay? You all know what nonsense blanket rezoning is. It's the UN agenda, it's the liberal agenda, it's everything to destroy our communities and our freedoms. So number 1 is get rid of blanket rezoning. Number 2, cancel the climate change emergency. So those 2 things all by themselves will get the job done. So we can do this, but like I say, you need to volunteer behind your candidate and bring your friends along. 20, 30 volunteers for each candidate. We can win those wards. Thank you very much. Did you want me to say anything else? Did you want me to introduce the individuals, or are we going to do? Okay, so we'll have Christine come up first. So Christine is Edwards. She'll just introduce herself and why she's running. This is in Ward 3, so the north part of the city. Again, if you don't know the wards, make sure before you leave you figure it out because you got to get involved.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Christy Edwards, and I am running in Ward 3. I actually live in Ward 2, but I spend 70% of my time in Ward 3. And I'm excited to be able to run for the City Council. I have always dreamed to be able to do this, but I need your help. I really need your help. Right now, Ward 3 has been saturated with pink, black, and white signs. It is signs on lampposts. It is signs on the ground. They've dropped literature everywhere. To be able to combat this, just as you've been hearing, we need people standing up. This is not a fight for me. This is a fight for Ward 3. This is a fight for Calgary, and to be able to ensure that our voices are heard. And so this all began a couple years ago when I went to a meeting in Ranchlands where blanket rezoning was being discussed, and I was saddened by what I was seeing. I could not believe what was going on. From there, a team actually started a whole entire community engagement. They got thousands upon thousands of signatures, over 60,000 signatures, and council still did not listen. They went to City Hall. And people spoke. They took time out of their busy lives to be able to be there, and the council still did not listen. I went to a meeting in July for a friend whose brother was running in my ward. I was told he was conservative. I didn't realize that he wasn't. And I only found that out by talking to his campaign manager and graphic designer. I was disappointed by what I was hearing. How could my friend be leading me to this? The only thing I could do was to bring accountability, transparency, and truth back into the ward. So I decided, okay, I'm going to stand up. This is going to be hard. This is going to be challenging. This is going to stretch me. This is going to take me completely out of my comfort zone. I am not going to be enjoying this. But I actually do. I love talking to the people. I love hearing their concerns. I love hearing their voices, and I love being able to have discussion and to hear what their problems are. Why are they so concerned about what's going on? What do they have hope and vision for their community? We want to be able to ensure that the residents are well heard. We want to ensure that we are doing this for them. I started this when I was 8 years old, and I see a little girl up here today who is just my age. When I started in Ottawa, I could not even reach the top of the mailbox. And you are never too young or too old to volunteer. And so we just wanted to thank everybody for coming tonight. We see Jack Reddicup in the crowd, who's actually been heavily involved. We see Daryl, who has brought thousands of masses to his events. We see other people here. We're also very family-oriented. And you know me, I brought my mom. And I asked her to come along, and she decided to be my campaign manager because she believed in me. Who can you believe in tonight? Who can you see that you can actually get behind? I would love it to be me, or Sheldon, or Anthony, or Tony, or John, but we need you. Thank you very much.
So our next candidate is from Ward, this is my home ward, Ward 7, and this is a real conservative. And again, we won in almost every part of Calgary with conservative candidates. So this is Anthony Askew, and let's welcome him.
Yeah, I just want to say first and foremost, if you guys like the shirt, there's a cool vendor over there in the back selling them. He's got amazing designs. Go support him. It's a local business with amazing, really cool shirts and designs. So please buy a shirt, buy a hat, help that guy out. I'm not center right. I am just right. There is nothing center about me. You know, I'm not decaf coffee. You know what I mean? There's nothing 50-50 about it. I was given a nice speech by my campaign manager, but I didn't bring it. To be honest, if you guys are looking for a polished, well-etiquette politician that says all the right things and dresses up to events and can have tea with the Queen, you're not going to get that in me. I shoot from the hip and I speak from the heart, and I'm only doing this because I speak with a lot of business owners and I know they're hurting. I know they have been taken advantage of. I know that the people don't feel safe in their neighborhoods. I know that you guys are just giving money to the government and they're just wasting it on frivolous ventures and stupid art projects that are meaningless. We need to focus on priorities and be responsible, and quite frankly, we need to kick a couple bureaucrats out of there because they've been there for too long. I want term limits. I want to do 2 terms and then quit. I never want to see any of you guys again after that. You know, look, man, like I always tell people this, and I mean this, if you take anything away from this, take this. I'm not a politician. Even if I win this thing, I'm not a politician. I'm just a regular guy, tired of the politics, that wants to make a difference. I'm taking a pay cut doing this. I don't care. I want to do something more than what I'm currently doing for my community, and this is it. This is it for me. That's my mission statement. That's why I'm doing this. If you want to support me, feel free to do so. Anthony Askew, that's ASCUE.ca. Please donate. Please volunteer. Please do everything you can to get the message out across there. We have Heather McRae and we have Terry Wong. Those are 2 conservatives, fake conservatives. Those are basically liberals. I want to kick them out. I want to put a real conservative in there, and I want to make some possible changes here. Thank you, guys.
I think we need non-politicians in council, don't you think? So our next candidate that we're going to introduce is from Ward 9, and this is an amazing guy. He's a business owner, a contractor. His family immigrated from Vietnam here to Canada, and he's got 5 beautiful kids. He's a family man as well. So I'd like to introduce from Ward 9, Tony Din. Tony.
So good evening, everyone. I'm going to start with this, and I normally don't, but I want to confess everyone my faith. I am a Christian. I'm Roman Catholic. I was born and raised in the Catholic system, and a young man recently inspired me to have courage for my faith. And I want to connect people. I want to talk to your soul. I want to talk to more than politics, and that's why I wanted to start with that. before we get into the policies and the safe and the affordable and the public safety and things like that. So yes, I am a conservative candidate. I have conservative values. I am against blanket rezoning. As a home builder, I have a real plan to address the affordability that we all want from our counselors, our administration, that they say that this blanket rezoning is going to deliver affordable housing. Well, I'm a builder, and I have the plan for affordable housing that's going to address the parking issues, the overlooking onto your neighbor's backyard, and too much strain on infrastructure. I also, top of our campaign is affordability, public safety, repealing the blanket rezoning, and the Climate Emergency Act that Roy has talked about. We got to get back to the basics. City Hall has gone off track. They are so far. We need to get back on the right track. And so that's what we want to do. We say infrastructure over ideology, and we'd rather invest in water mains than blue rings. I'm Tony Din. Thank you very much.
Didn't realize he was wrapping up so quickly. Anyway, I like that. Water mains instead of blue rings. You got to remember that. That's really, really good. So on our last candidate who's here, there's, like I said, 4 of our 7. This is from Ward number 2. And John Garden is an oil and gas guy in the background, very successful in business, passionate. He's got the friendliest smile in the world, but a fantastic candidate for us in Ward 2. Let's welcome him.
The immortal John Garden, according to Anthony. I'm just going to use his term, I'm just right. I love it. So I'm John Garden. I'm running in Ward 2, but I should be number 1 in your heart. I'm a professional engineer, and I've been telling people that I'm not a politician, I'm a businessman. I've been running my own consulting firm downtown, and I've worked around the world. I've had budgets in excess of $400 million a year. The city budget doesn't scare me. In that respect, it scares me too, but I understand how a set of financials work, what accountability is, what transparency is, all of the above. As a professional engineer, my number 1 concern is always public safety. Above everything else, I have to be concerned with public safety. That's my professional creed. And I don't see that happening in the city. I don't see it with our transit system. I don't see it with the funding for the police, the fire department, and in the blanket rezoning. The blanket rezoning, we're stuffing too many people into too small of an areas. We can't get fire trucks into it. We can't get police in. We can't get EMS in because of parking restrictions. Just going to make this real short and real sweet. What I'm seeing with the blanket rezoning in particular, I just see it as a growing tax grab for the city. I don't see anything contributing to affordability. But what I do see is a change in the character of our neighborhoods and a change in the heart and soul of the city of Calgary. I'm John Garden, and I'm running Ward 2. Thank you.
Thanks, John. It's my privilege also to introduce people who are not with the Better Calgary Party, but who are with us as a movement. And so in Ward 4, I wanted Sheldon to run for us in Ward 4. But certain valid reasons, or good reasons, I guess you could say, I still have huge respect for Sheldon. And so let's welcome Sheldon Yakachuk, who's going to be our next councillor in Ward 4.
Sorry, guys, I'm new to this. Good evening, and thanks for coming out. My name is Sheldon Yakachuk. I will be really easy to find on the ballot. I'll be the last one. My name's easy to say, but harder to spell. And when I looked at the idea of what does this city really need, what are people really asking for? And I mean, we all have a list of demands. We want to see, the safety improve inside of the city. We want to see fiscal responsibility. We want to see the repealing of the blanket rezoning. I'm the only candidate that's actually running a petition citywide to repeal the blanket rezoning. But the one thing that I think that all Calgarians are actually searching for is their voice back in city council. Yes. And the reason that I'm running is, and you guys can raise your hands as we kind of go through this, is, you know, we've lived in Calgary for a good portion of our lives, right? We've raised kids inside of our communities, right? I mean, I've been in my same community for over 30 years, 3 decades, raised children there. Who's got grandchildren growing up in their community, in Calgary? Who's volunteered for their community center or community associations? Who's been part of the sporting programs, the Cub Scouts, Girl Guides? You see, I'm not running as a politician. I'm running as a person. I'm running as a member of my community. I'm running because I have the shared values with each and every one of you here. I grew up here. I've raised kids here. I now have grandchildren here. And I don't want to lead Ward 4 in City Council. I want to represent the people in my community in City Council. My name is Sheldon Yakachuk, running for Ward 4.
Excellent. It's the common theme is we need people who are listening first to their constituents, to the people in their community, and that's, I think, been woefully lacking in this last, certainly this last council. The last person I get to introduce is my very good friend Mahmoud Mora. Many of you, probably all of you, know who Mahmoud is. He was the leader, the founder of the Million Man March, which was a huge, it was a fantastic event, or series of events, and a real coalition of like-minded people of different faiths, but family values, freedom, these kinds of really core values that are important to us. So Mahmoud is running in Ward 10, so let's welcome him tonight. Thanks.
Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are having a good evening. I want to share with you something. I know we all heard about the tragic accident or mental illness or whatever you name it that took someone's life less than a week ago. You know, you could donate money, you could donate effort, but if I tell any one of you to take 20 seconds silent of his life and be calm for that 20 seconds, if I give you $1 billion, would you be able to retrieve that 20 seconds back? No matter what I give you, no one can bring his time back. We lost a man who did believe and show us a good example of do or die for a cause he believed in. Do I agree with everything that Charlie Kirk did? No. Or said? No. But I do have a lot of respect for a lot of stuff he has said, or he has showed all the community across the globe how to stand for what you believe and fight with common sense, and he doesn't deserve to get killed while he has open forum for anyone to come and talk to him. So this is something I'm used to tell each and every one of you. Donating your time because you care, and giving the effort you could give to help to protect the community you were living in. I have a privilege that many of you don't. I was born twice. I said it to many of you, and many of you maybe never heard it from me before. I was born in a corrupted country till I'm 26 years old. I know many of us, they don't know if they go to school, if they come back alive, because that's how we raised in that country. And my second birth, when I landed myself and my family in this country, I'm a father of 5 kids, who God gave me the ability to raise them in wealthy, healthy environment. And thanks to every senior and elder who contributed into this society for us to have a good present. And this is my second birth. I am proud of to call myself Calgarian by choice. I decided to live here. I decided to reside here. I decided to stay here because I love the city. I love each and every one who gave me a hand, who smiled in my face, who assist me in any ways possible to build what I built and to have what I have. And I do care. I heard some say I don't care. No, I do care. And this is the main reason for me running. And I do feel the necessity of us to speak our mind. In the society, it's hard to be Calgarian or Canadian. I don't want to say Albertan because the stigma out, or the one I'm running against, is spreading the rumor I'm a separatist. And I'm seeing it in front of the door. So let me say it from this stage. There is nothing wrong with fighting or standing behind the free, strong, and independent Alberta was in United Canada. And if that wind doesn't come in the way we want it, a relation between every two couple based on mutual respect, mutual honesty, mutual treatment. If there's none of the above, divorce is legit. And I'm not shy about it. I do believe as Albertan, we are abused by Ottawa. Tell me one person in this room who doesn't believe this exists. Why we're shy about it? We shouldn't. You know what? I'm surprised there's some passive people who ignore the fact this is an issue in Alberta. Yes, someone playing it against me at some of the doors. I meet some white people. Forgive me if I say it. They tell me I'm having a hard time being Calgarian. So I go to certain people, they tell me you're so brown, Gondek, and they don't know I'm one of the guys who was collecting recall Gondek signature. They call me you're pro-Gondek. I go to the other side, they call me you're separatist. So I'm having a hard time where to go, trying to be decent, trying to be Albertan, trying to be Calgarian. It is hard in a society that's been divided so much. But it's the job of each and every one of you. So I got the note, 1 minute left. I'm going to tell you quickly how I introduced myself at the door. I am Mahmoud Murra. I'm your conservative candidate for Ward 10. I'm here to introduce myself, and I would love to seek your support. My top 5 points: our city street turned into a racing track, killing our kids on a daily basis. Our park neglected in the northeast, that we have no amenities, and which is true for those who live in northeast, they understand. If you decide to use a washroom or restroom, you have to go back to your home or to a gas station. We go from there to we have no outdoor park, no outdoor swimming pool. My top main concern, and I do believe there's no minority exists in this country. If you eat and drink, walk and talk, shut the hell up because there's someone wish to be talking and walking like you. Go out and work. Only one minority exists in this country with 2 wings: our special needs and our seniors and our elders. They contributed all their life for us to have a good present, a good society, and they deserve to live in age with dignity, honor, and respect, them and their family. And what do we offer them? Sadly, nothing. This is the platform I'm running, and I'm running to put the human before the stone and the soul before the stone. God bless each and every one of you, and I hope I can earn your trust.
So Leslie asked me to also introduce the school board candidates. I know 3 of them. I don't know 2 of them that are here tonight. But again, I want to remind you that you can simultaneously do lit dropping for the school board trustees as well as for your favorite counselor. So keep that in mind. So I'd like to first and foremost introduce from Ward 1 and 2. So that's John Gardens and Kathy Jacobs' ward. So these school board trustees, they have about 220,000 population that they represent. Think about that. So it's a huge, huge task for them to reach the entirety of the community. So if we do this creatively, as I already described, I don't have to go over that again, we can do an awful lot for the school board trustees, all of which are excellent parental rights people that we can get behind. So I'd like to start by introducing for wards 1 and 2, Cindy DeBray. Where's Cindy? There she is, right in the front. Let's welcome Cindy.
Thanks. Yeah, okay. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out tonight. I'm going to do a bit of an overview introduction from all of the school trustee candidates that are here tonight. There have been questions coming at us from the media and people in the community that are hearing some misinformation that we're somehow connected. When Leslie had asked me to put together some candidates that could attend this election candidate forum that are school trustees, I said, well, I know some, but I don't know them all. But I will try to come up with some people that I think would connect with your audience. And so I asked the people that you're going to hear from tonight. I knew Darzouk many years ago. Him and I were involved with a business networking group. I've gotten familiar with Joni and her husband Steve over the last 4 years through different action events and stuff. Great people. I met Jennifer and Gordo, and I feel like I'm missing somebody. No, Tyson wasn't there. At a election training course that happened last year. And since then, we have connected at some other events. Because interestingly enough, we all hired the same campaign consulting group, which is why our graphic designs, our websites, and everything all look similar. And that's the only reason, because we're all independent. We all have our own platforms. We all have our own ideas. And we all have different reasons for running, even though, like most candidates, in any election, we have similar ideas because the problems are similar. And so we have the same things that we might want to change. So we are not a slate. We are not a party. We are not permitted. We are to be non-partisan, and we are. So I want to put that to sleep. I'm going to let each candidate introduce themselves, just for time's sake, and because I don't know enough about any of them to introduce them. So they're going to introduce themselves and let you know all about each of them. We'll speak in order of our wards, which is why I'm up here first, because I am running as the Calgary Board of Education School Trustee for Wards 1 and 2, which currently encompasses 25 communities, mostly in Northwest Calgary. I have a husband who has been my rock since I decided that I wanted to run for this position because it just came to my heart. That we have the right people on our Calgary School Board. I have 4 kids. I have 8 grandkids. One of my daughters is a teacher. I've been listening to her and other family members and friends who are in the teaching profession and listen to the stories of what they deal with every day. And sometimes it breaks my heart. A lot of times it breaks my heart, so that's why I'm doing this. Many people want to make the teachers' strike and the book restriction about politics. As school trustees, we have to be nonpartisan. I occasionally get asked at the door about those issues, and we can't ignore those issues. It just means that we need to remove the politics and look at the facts and if we get on board, step in when we are needed. My focus is on the children and what is happening in the public schools. It's focusing on the best education system possible. Unfortunately, Alberta public schools are seeing a significant decline in math, science, and reading performance since 2003, and nothing is being done to correct it. So we need to get back to basics and determine what has changed, especially in the core subjects, and turn this around. Sorry, can I just say, Leslie, the first part of my speech was not my speech, so I'm asking for more time. Please, thank you. We have a pending strike on October 6th because teachers are overwhelmed and undervalued. Most parents and students love their teachers because most teachers are great. The problem is the public school system is broken, and we're losing teachers because they no longer have job satisfaction. They are overwhelmed by increasing complexity in their classrooms with increasing immigration, adding students without English as a first language, and schools that don't have ESL. Integration of special needs students with disabilities that are beyond teacher training or any level of reason. Aggressive and disruptive behavior issues putting teachers and other students at risk. Parents of children with special needs are telling me heartbreaking stories at the door. Their children are being forced into public schools when they have mid to severe mental and physical disabilities. They're being forced to take transportation for over 30 minutes to get to their schools. One teacher said that she had a child who required 24-hour medical assistance, and she had no support in the classroom. Some parents had to fight for 2 to 4 years to have their children moved into special needs schools. Parents of children with or without special needs have told me they're have moved their children to charter or private schools because their needs are not being met and nobody is listening. These may not represent the majority, but their situations are important. This is all being confirmed by parents, teachers, students, and education systems as we knock on the doors. We need to look back and see what has changed, and we need to determine what is causing the decline in our public schools. We need to look at what the charter and private schools are doing well because they're having strong results and satisfaction among teachers, students, and parents. In closing, parents and teachers agree our schools are facing serious challenges. Rapid growth is straining facilities. The new schools aren't being built fast enough. Classrooms are more complex and teachers feel overwhelmed and undervalued. Some students aren't receiving the attention they need, and parents feel unheard. Real change requires collaboration between parents, teachers, administrators, and school boards to put students first. With over 30 years in commercial real estate, I bring strong skills in budgeting, capital planning, and construction. My experience on education committees and regulatory boards has given me a deep understanding of governance, accountability, and policies, keys to effective school board leadership. If you're ready for real solutions and a stronger voice for students, families, and teachers, please vote for me, Cindy Dubray, as public school trustee in wards 1 and 2. Thank you very much.
Dr. Joni, I have to say something about this amazing lady. So I've got to know her over a number of years through the Freedom Movement, and she'd be a fantastic school board trustee. So let's welcome Dr. Joni. Is it going to be okay for you?
Way down. Hello, Calgary. Do you think that our education system in Calgary is delivering the very best education that it possibly can? Do you think that our kids are getting enough instruction in reading, writing, and basic math? I've been door knocking. I've knocked on thousands and thousands of doors, and I've spoken to probably a couple of thousand of people. And the stories that I have heard out there, I mean, I thought things were bad, but I wasn't specific about how bad it was. But the door knocking was a good part of my research. And that is how I found out that so many of our children today are graduating without being able to read, write, and do basic math. back in June, I met a professor of engineering while I was door knocking. And he told me that he noticed that there was a difference 20 years ago, up until last year's first year class of engineering students. He told me that these students couldn't do basic math. I was a professional engineer for 24 years. I was shocked and I was horrified because, like John says, we swear to protect the public safety, and now we have engineering students who might not be able to do the job, who might be endangering people. I was shocked. And I won't stand for this. One of the reasons, the main reason that these things are happening, that why our kids aren't reading and writing and doing basic math, is because of the way teachers are being told to teach. So they're using some strange thing like that's called whole word reading. Parents and grandparents have described to me what that means. Simply, I don't know if, because I don't have any experience with this, but one grandparent told me that their child was sent home with a list of words that they had to memorize. And that's how they were supposed to learn how to read when they couldn't really associate, the word to whatever it was that they were trying to memorize. And then this thing about math, common core math, also something very ridiculous. I was told that, hey, kids, all they have to do is estimate. All they have to do is guesstimate. So 2 + 2 is no longer 4. The child could actually say it's 2, and teacher would say it's right. So there's something very wrong going on. And I really truly believe that the current board just hasn't been asking the parents what they feel, whether they think that their children are getting a good education. So I have a huge list of grievances. Now, I know the Calgary Board of Education does not like competition. It's not all bad out there. So when I ask people, do you think our kids are getting enough instruction in reading, writing, and math? Some parents will actually say yes, but there's a caveat. They've either moved their kids out of the public system. They put them into private. They put them elsewhere in charter school, or they're homeschooling. And sometimes the particular teacher or the particular principal of a school is excellent. So most parents cannot afford to leave the public school system. So we have to get back to teaching our kids the right way, because there's the traditional learning centers and something called FFCA, which is a charter school in the system. The parents are very happy with that because the kids are being taught traditional ways. So why can't we do that throughout the entire system? Why are we fooling around with our kids' future? I talked to a mother who told me that her 22-year-old daughter is unable to get a promotion at school because she doesn't have her basic math. So please, if you're Ward 3 and 4, please vote for me and please volunteer with me. Thank you so much.
I don't know Jennifer, but I do know that she's in Ward 6 and 7. So a reminder of how these things overlap, representing 220,000 population. And think about how important the education of our kids is, especially in light of Charlie Kirk and his passion to bring common sense to our kids, right? So we need these kinds of school board trustees. So let's welcome Jennifer Stewart, Ward 6 and 7.
Slightly taller. Hi. My name is Jennifer Stewart. I'm running in Ward 6 and 7 for Public School Board Trustee. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about me, how I got here. Oh, thank you, that's better. And why I'm running. That's very close. When I tell people I know that I'm running, the first thing that they always say is, but you're not a teacher. And then when I tell people I don't know that I'm running, usually the first thing they say is, are you a teacher? Well, let me tell you, I am not a teacher. I echo the sentiment of other people here tonight. I am also not a politician. I'm a mom. I'm a mom of 3. I'm a wife. I'm an active community member. And I'm a small business owner. And I am not happy with the public school system status quo. My kids are young. Okay, they are very young. They're not in the school system yet, but they will be soon enough. And they are my primary motivation to run and to run now. Change needs to start immediately, but let's be real. Real change takes time. There's a lot of stuff to undo there over at CBE. Real change takes strategy, takes determination, perseverance, and of course, teamwork. I'm born and raised in Calgary. My own schooling was a mix of public and private. I went to both University of Victoria and U of C. Early on in my life, I had a love of horses, and I was very grateful to have spent the majority of my youth living, working, and breathing at a show jumping facility. To fund my passion, I started teaching horseback riding lessons at a very young age. Initially, I did this to pay my bills, but pretty soon, I was doing it because I loved it. I taught a lesson program, board program for all ages for about 12 years, and ranging from anywhere from 6-year-olds to 75-year-olds. The 6-year-olds were my favorite, though. At home, my husband and I struggled, like many others out there, with miscarriages and infertility. While we waited for our Earthside babies to arrive, I found solace in rescuing dogs. Bless my husband for letting me do that. We fostered 30-plus dogs from various rescues across Alberta. Then I found out we were pregnant with twins, which is a true blessing, but also terrifying. Okay, as soon as we were in the clear, I joined a twin mom group for support. I'm very lucky to have kept in touch with this group. We still meet almost 4 years later for bi-weekly play dates, or my own personal favorite, wine nights. However, I learned a lot from this group, and let me tell you why. Everyone else in the group, except for me, is a CBE teacher. Okay, they all teach in CBE, varying grades between grades 1 and grade 11 in all 4 quadrants of the city. They have made it exceptionally clear to me, especially in this past year, as we're thinking about where our children will be going to school, that not one of them, and there's 6 of them, will be putting their own kids through the system that they teach at. This is a huge wake-up call. The system as is broken. The status quo is not working. The ATA does not back up teachers. The school board does not properly represent parents and students, and things must change. In my small business, I employ about 40 people year-round, with an extra 20 or so in the summer. I actually employ a decent amount of mature youth, so ages 18 to 25. Often, for lots of these youth, at my business, it's their first or second job, ever. I have noticed in the past 5 years or so, a big difference in these young graduates emerging in the workforce. They are not prepared in more ways than one. They often struggle to follow directions. They regularly can't think for themselves, innovate, or adapt to real-life situations. For the most part, they have lost the general sense of individual work ethic and the strive to succeed on their own. It's really sad. We need to get back to basics in the classroom. Schools must prepare kids for what lays ahead. Reading, writing, and math must take precedent over ideologies and fluff and phones. We need well-rounded students that can think for themselves, not students stuck behind screens and AI. Don't get me wrong, AI has its place, but not as a replacement for writing or critical thinking. School boards are a governing board. They have a fiduciary responsibility to parents and students and set policy. They don't set curriculum, but they do have a say in how the curriculum is implemented. Teachers need to be teaching students how to think and not what to think. Okay, this news this week has been heavy, and I know my time's about up here, so I'll cut my speech short. But I know I speak for many when I say that it hit me particularly hard. My kids are the same age as Charlie's. Besides following his work with Turning Point and at college campuses for many years, regardless if I agreed with him or not, what he stood for is what the world needs. It needs it now, especially more than ever. The youth movement is here. It's strong, it's capable, it has hope. The light is burning, young people are waking up, and it's time that we pay attention and support them the best way we can. Thank you. I'm Jennifer Stewart. I'm running in Ward 6 and 7. I need volunteers, I need donations, and I can't wait to make a change. Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer. So we do have wards 11 and 12, and then 12 and 14. Obviously, there's a mistake. Tyson, which wards do you represent? 11 and 13. So that's a correction from the notes here. But again, another school board trustee. You will recognize there's some really good names of people running for council in those same places. And like I said, you can't do it officially as a campaign, but as a volunteer, you can simultaneously do work for both the school board trustee and your favorite counselor. So good to have Tyson Ario. Let's welcome him.
Good evening. My name is Tyson Ario. I'm running for public school board trustee in wards 11 and 13. Almost went in the opposite numerical order. Guess I got to go back to school myself. So the reason that I'm running is because I have two children who are in the public school board system right now. One is in junior high, the other in elementary. And as they prepare for university, I really, really want to make sure that they are getting the best education they can possibly get. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to follow three main policies, actually not such policies as basic principles, because right now, since I have not yet been school board trustee, I don't know what I don't know. So what I'm going to commit to is to approach each situation that comes up with these three things in mind: transparency, accountability, and results. A little more about these three things. Transparency. What I want to see is a much more transparent school board and much more transparent administration. At the doors, I've had a few parents who talk about how their children were being bullied in school. They found this out from their own children. But when confronted, the administration of the school said there was no such thing happening. There's no problem. But really, what child would lie about this? Why would they not want to tell the truth about this kind of thing? And why would the administration not want to handle it? Good questions that I think deserve answers. Number two, and my personal favorite, is accountability. In my professional work, I work with publicly funded nonprofit organizations. I oversee their budgets, I make sure they're delivering the results that they are being funded to deliver, and I make sure all their expenses are reasonable and necessary for the work they do. This is something that I'm very concerned about with the public school system, is they have a very large budget, around $1.4 billion. That's a lot of money. Is this all being spent in the classroom? It is not. How much can be spent in the classroom? I'm quite sure significantly more. So the idea is to bring that kind of actuarial energy into this, to look carefully, line by line, item by item, to see what is and what is not unnecessary expense, and to direct the school boards to put the money into the classroom where it belongs. Number three, results. We're not necessarily getting the results that we should be. Alberta sits pretty high in the world rankings as far as the educational jurisdictions go. But over the past decade, we've been slipping and slipping. It may not be fast, but it's happening, and this needs to be reversed. Maybe it is because I'm Asian, but I really care that the people are getting the results, the people are getting quality education. We need to refocus reading, writing, math, the STEM skills, critical thinking, all the key things that people need in order to succeed in life. Because at the end of the day, what you need in education is a solid foundation for a lifetime of growth. So, transparency. accountability, results. That's the bottom line, because Ario said so.
Wow, eh? We got some great school board trustees. The last person I get to introduce is a good friend as well, and who's running in wards 12 and 14. Again, just very passionate about the vision for trying to turn things around in our public schools. Nothing more important than children. Let's welcome Darzuk from Ward 12 and 14.
Hey, I don't want to forget about Susan. Is Susan V here still? Yeah, Susan V. She is here as well for 8 and 9 trustee. She isn't. She's not on the list. Okay. Hey, so my name is Darzuk. I'm a right microphone. I'm Darzuk. I'm a father, husband, father of 3, 4-H club, general leader, past president of Mackenzie Town Council, community board member, and a business owner here in Calgary. I also grew up and went through public education in Edmonton. My kids are my heart. I've got 3 of them aged 9, 11, and 13, and they're going through the school system right now. One of the things that I've seen and heard as I investigate our CBE and where changes need to be made, it brings to mind something I learned much earlier in my life, that where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And we keep hearing stories from trustees across the city that are passionate about how we can change our CBE, get a better education, a better future for these future Calgarians. One of the things I've learned about the CBE is we have a lot of good people working there. We have over 16,000 people working in the CBE. What disturbs me about that number is less than half of that number actually are in front of kids each and every day. Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. The direction and the current focus of the CBE is not in the classrooms, it's doing something else. It's the goal of trustees to provide an oversight over the school board, make sure that the finances are going into the right places. We hear from teachers right across the city that there's not enough money. A typical classroom in the CBE is 30 people, 30 kids. In high school, it's higher. It's 40, above 40. That's too many in the classroom. But that classroom of 30 kids gets funded $340,000, plus bursaries, plus grants each and every year. That's the operating. That's not for school buildings or anything else. That's just for operating that classroom. Too much of that money is going somewhere else. It's not getting in the classroom. This is a role for school board trustees to keep an eye on the finances to make sure that the money is budgeted in the right place. We need to focus on literacy and math skills. As we've heard from so many of the trustees that came from before me, we've got kids that are coming out without the ability to do basic math, without the ability to read and write. This must be our focus in our classrooms. We need to focus on transparency, making sure that teachers and parents and kids come together with an understanding, clear communication of what's happening so we can find solutions that serves all of them. We need to make sure that our teachers are taken care of. We're looking at, in a couple weeks here, that teachers may be going on strike. This is oversight that the school board trustees have. And like what's happened in the last 4 years, we cannot continue this. There's been missteps. We need to take care of teachers. When teachers are not taken care of, the kids are not taken care of. I'm Darzuk. I'm running in Southeast Calgary, 12 and 14. This is the heart of our city, the heart of our province, the kids. If we don't fix our schools, nothing else that happens at the municipal, the provincial or the federal levels matter, because our citizens that are coming up in the next 10 and 20 years will continue in the same mold. We need to serve our kids better. We need to make sure they have an education that there's critical thinking. That's not happening enough today. I'm Dar Zook. If you're in 12 and 14, please, I need your help with door knocking, with flyers, getting a sign on your front lawn. Thank you, everyone.
Oh, he was tall. Hi up there. Okay, thank you. Whoops. No, get it up here. Okay. Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you so much to all our counselors and our school board trustees for coming out tonight and sharing some of your very valuable time. I know the next 5 weeks or so is going to be a lot of door knocking and saying hello to people, right? Okay, our final guest speaker of the evening is Renee Hunt. She is from A4C, or Action for Canada. Renee is educated as a teacher and taught in multiple areas, including senior math and science. Her biology class focused on body systems and taught what CO2 was of the utmost importance to plant life and, of course, in our own life. If we don't have it, we are SOL eventually. This is in combination with the fact that her immediate and extended family have worked in the oil and gas industry for her whole life. So she's made it her sit up. No, that's not right, sorry. So it made her sit up and pay close attention to the green energy push. Renee has been helping Action for Canada keep an eye on what Calgary's council has been up to in the area of climate change, climate policy, smart and net zero cities. She has done a deep dive into the Calgary climate strategy, Pathways to 2050, and believes it is important to share her findings in order to empower Calgarians to speak with confidence as to what is going on at City Hall. Renee?
Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. It is wonderful to be with you. I have a helper who is going to do her best to try and just adjust our technology here a little bit in order to make things go a little smoother for the actual video footage that is required here. There we go. Perfect. Excellent. Thank you to these wonderful technicians for their help. Should I bring this closer? Great. Thank you so much. Again, I'm just wondering if it's possible to have the light turned down, maybe in the front. Maybe that would help a little bit. But no worries if not. It's nice. A picture's worth 1,000 words, right? And we got some good ones for you. So yes, please, yep. I do not mind one iota of people wandering around. I realize it's a long time to sit. So yes, so again, as mentioned, I'm Renee Hunt. I've been working with Action for Canada for approximately 3 years. For those who aren't familiar with Action for Canada, it's been around for about 10 years or so. It's a grassroots movement, and it focuses on faith, family, and freedom. And I will actually give you a little bit more information toward the end about how you could maybe get involved. So yes, myself, I've been married for about 28 years. I have two 20-something children. And yes, as mentioned, I am a former teacher. And I'm really happy to share this evening with you. Again, the focus being on freedom, and that focus being freedom and how it relates to the Calgary climate strategy. So I think this is excellent that we have the counselors here tonight, and even school trustees, because there's a lot of information being fed to our students as well that is giving them all of this anxiety. So freedom here in relation to the Calgary's climate strategy, which I have named Big Pain for Minuscule Gain. And we'll give you a bird's eye view of it tonight. It's a big document, so I'll try and make it, yay! So I'll try and make it easier for you to understand and to talk about. So what we are going to cover, we're going to look at the document itself to give you an understanding of the layout. We'll look at key areas that we believe restrict your freedoms and that are going to cost you big dollars. How much is that $87 billion strategy going to actually reduce the global emissions? And then we'll also talk about concrete actions that you can take. This is why we call ourselves Action for Canada, because we believe in empowering the people and then providing them with what they can do to take action to make change. So here is what we're not going to be talking about tonight. I'm not going to be doing a deep dive into the global entities that are a part of the actual document itself. We've actually created videos. You can go online to Rumble, our Rumble page, search up Action for Canada on Rumble, scroll down, and you can find them there. I'm actually told just this evening that they're actually now on our website under the topic of 15-minute cities, so you can go and check that out there. In those videos, I do a deeper dive into the global entities, such as the Global Covenant of Mayors, the Resilient Cities Network, which actually was created by the Rockefeller Foundation, climatechange.org, which is out of Australia, and that is actually quoted and shown in the actual declaration that Calgary was becoming a part of. So that's out of Australia. And also Race to Zero, which is a United Nations initiative. And all of this is nothing that we've made up. It's actually all within the document and the climate emergency itself. So if you're interested in that rabbit hole, please go on. There's a lot there for you to take a look at. So we should preface before we go any further a few of our beliefs at Action for Canada before anybody jumps to the conclusion that perhaps we're climate deniers. We're not. We believe that the climate is changing. We believe that it is constantly changing, but change does not equal an emergency. And the science is never settled. And CO2 is not a pollutant. Yes. Thank you. Before going any further, I would like to pose a question to you to keep in the back of your mind. Would you agree that when we consider a topic, one needs to look at the full context? And what I mean by that is that you need to look at the pros and the cons of any topic before making a decision. A really good example of that is the use of antibiotics, for example. We know that antibiotics are life-changing. They can save you from a bacterial infection, but there's also cons involved, such as besides killing off the bad bacteria, they can also kill off the good bacteria. Nonetheless, we must consider the pros and the cons and then decide how to proceed forward. In most cases, it is advisable to take that antibiotic to, in some cases, save your life. So the pros outweigh the cons. But in actuality, the climate document, if you go ahead and take a deep dive into that, there's no mention of any positive in related to the oil and gas industry. Nothing, nada. You won't find it. No mention of the 6,000 plus petroleum-based products that make our life easier, make our Western civilization as comfortable as it is today. No mention of it, only that we must transition away. So I'll leave that for you to ponder. Why is it that there is no positives mentioned? The goal tonight, as mentioned, is to empower you as a citizen of Calgary to confidently share with others how the City of Calgary's climate strategy will restrict your freedoms, cost each Calgarian an exorbitant amount of money, while reducing emissions by an almost indistinguishable amount. So it's quite often been brought up that Calgary is a smart city. So is it a smart city? Well, we know for certain that Edmonton is. They make no bones about it. you can go ahead and find a lot of news stories about it. But what about Calgary? Well, we'll be quite familiar with these two figures. They look pretty comfy cozy, don't they? As they should, because they were young global leaders together with the World Economic Forum. So they should probably know each other quite well. And it was under Nenshi in 2018 that Calgary did indeed apply in this contest, the Infrastructure Canada's Smart City Challenge. You can go online and you can check it out. And you can go and see all the cities that applied in that challenge. And you can scroll over Calgary, and it pops up. And Calgary, indeed, they applied to win $50 million in that contest. But did they win? Well, in fact, they did not win. And you can find that information. I've enlarged a portion of it. And essentially it's saying they did not win, but they're going to continue on with everything they're doing in regard to technology and some of the proposed projects. And in those videos, if you go and check it out, indeed, we take a deep dive and look at that the city is continuing on with many of the technology ideas, things that they put forward, Internet of Things. So if you're interested in that, please go ahead and find those videos. So we also recognize this person. And sorry, the screen is a little, it's hard to see. Apologies for that. But yes, we know that current mayor was sworn in end of October. And it didn't take long until there was the declaration of the climate emergency. Now, I was fairly new to Calgary at this time, but from many people that I speak to about it, they were very surprised about this declaration. And so I ask you, how does the saying go? Fool me once, will you be fooled again, Calgarians, in this upcoming election for who your mayor is going to be? I leave that for you to ponder. We know that the current mayor enjoys being on the world stage. We know that from the different mentions of all the global entities in the declaration itself. And we can see here too, just a little screen grab, that she's vice president of the World Energy Cities Partnership. Maybe nothing wrong with that, except that it's all about transitioning away from oil and gas. A major slap into the face, particularly to our energy city and all the jobs related to that within Calgary. And extending beyond Calgary. I'm from Saskatchewan, so I know full well that a lot of head offices are in Calgary. So I thought that I would share this particular quote from Mayor Gondek that she shared with Rebel News. And she said, "I don't think political parties have a part to play in municipal politics." Nothing wrong with that, right? Every person can decide what they want to do. I think local representation should be independent. But is it really, Mayor Gondek? When you're following the lead of global entities and when 70% of your population says that they do not want blanket rezoning and you proceed anyway, right? And she also says, you speak on behalf of your people. You should not be whipped by someone telling you how to vote. Fair enough, but again, what about the global organizations on things such as climate? How is that local representation? Now, you may be unaware because there's a lot of rhetoric around it, but in actuality, municipalities have no mandate for climate. Nope, they don't. Roads, water lines, garbage, and more, but not climate. Nonetheless, the Calgary Climate Strategy was born not too long after the declaration. That was quick. Too bad the city couldn't move quick like that on some of the other things we see around it. In actuality, they've been working on this for quite some time. Again, if you go check out the videos, you can go down that rabbit hole. That's why this came about so quickly. So the one thing about any document, particularly a PDF, is that you can go on and you can do key terms, phrases search. So I did that, particularly as I started to wonder about Calgary being a smart city. So within the document itself, smart city is not mentioned, not once. You can see what else is mentioned here. Density, not a whole lot. Compact, not a whole lot. You can see what the other words mentioned there. There's some other ones, though, that it becomes very apparent. You can see the huge numbers for climate, carbon, emissions, resilience. That comes up many times. Equity, we could do a whole evening on equity, but we'll save that for another time. So in fact, Calgary is a net zero city, and they make no bones about it right on page 1. That's what they want to be. So essentially, that's saying we want to get into a state in which the greenhouse gases emitted into the atmosphere are balanced by the removal. So indeed, it's not a smart city. They don't call themselves that, but they're a net zero city. But I can tell you for certain that they're looking to achieve the same things. Absolutely. So with that said, I would like to make this a little bit easier for you, and maybe you want to do a bit, maybe this isn't a great picture to be able to get in the dark, but to make it easier for everyone, that's what we want to do. We want to empower you, the citizens of Calgary, to make it easier. The document is daunting because it's about 100 pages. So, but the mitigation portion of it, that's the meat and the potatoes of the whole document. So it's divided into themes, and within each theme, there's subheadings. So net zero homes and buildings, zero carbon energy transition, zero carbon neighborhoods. And I've highlighted that for a certain reason, because I would like to bring your attention back to that, particularly when it comes to rezoning. Theme 4, consumption and waste, carbon removal, and theme 6, enabling actions. Now, within the document, they do have a few explainer pages, so I grabbed a screenshot for you. And they have it all color-coded very nicely, talking about where they are in terms of development, how long it's going to take to achieve that, and in green, from light green to dark green, just how much money it's going to cost you. Is it going to cost, how much is that topic going to cost? Is it going to be less than $1 million, or is it going to be very large and over $20 million to achieve that? I've got a screenshot here. Again, you can see things are laid out very nice, colorful, color-coded, and again, running along the side, you can't quite see it, but there is also the stage of development, and again, how much that's going to cost for that particular topic. And the second page, it's a little bit off there, but again, what's missing is just along the side showing the dollar signs about how much that's going to cost. So how is it going to restrict your freedoms, though? How do we come to that conclusion? Well, what I've done is chosen 3 different distinct areas that we really felt were nefarious in that regard. So one of those is disincentivizing driving and ownership of personal ICE vehicles. For those unaware, that's internal combustion engine vehicles. B, forcing a reduction in your home's emission. And C, forcing a reduction in your neighborhood emissions. And yes, we use the word forcing for a reason. You'll see an interesting diagram within the document. Again, I've done a screen grab here. If you go on and look up and do that rabbit hole of the Sustainable Development Goals from the United Nations, one of the biggest things that they're concerned about is emissions from transportation, as well from buildings, current buildings, new buildings. So very interesting. I chose these 3 areas And as I was going back through the document, it shows up right here. They've laid it out. It's in a perfectly wonderful color-coded diagram for you. These are the areas of concern. So I'll just jump in quickly and go through that ABC and just point out to you how your freedoms are going to be restricted. So A, the most nefarious one to me was establishing zero-emission transportation zones, and you can find that on page 36. So what do they mean by that? Well, essentially a congestion fee. They want you to pay a fee based on your vehicle, the type of vehicle that you drive, does it meet the correct standard, and also the time of day. So that's, right? Do you go, really? Is that possible? Well, I tell you what, it's happening around the world, and it's been happening in a lot of cities for a long time. London is a perfect example of that. London started their congestion fees way back in 2003. And they have a congestion fee, but they also have a low emission zone fee, and then they have an ultra low emission zone fee. So they've been doing that for quite some time, and many of the cities look to London and what they've been up to. But I tell you, the people there are fighting back. Another little bit of information here. Oh, you're not going to be able to see it. Darn. It's off the screen. But I'll read it to you. Very interesting tidbit I thought you might enjoy. It was on a NTD News program. The U.S. Embassy in London is refusing to pay their $18.5 million congestion fee, claiming diplomatic immunity. So interesting. Hey? If you're a diplomat, I guess you don't put out the emissions like the regular Joes do. And so I thought you might get a kick out of that. And you won't be able to see it either. It's just popping up. But at the time of this creation of this slide, 15 euros equaled almost $22.50 Canadian. So it's been going on for quite some time. There are others who are interested in doing the same thing down in New York. Our dear Governor Kathy Hochul down there, bless her soul, she basically came out saying, I'm giving you folks a reduction by 40%. Instead of paying $15 to enter Lower Manhattan, you're only going to have to pay $9. Well, isn't that lovely of her to think of the citizens that way? So there's a big fight going on between the current federal administration down there and Governor Hochul and what she wants to do. And again, sorry, it's off to the side a little bit so you can't see it, but you can search it up. There's over 500 different cities around the world that are implementing these congestion fees and for vehicles that don't meet the standard. So if you think it's not happening, if it sounds really utopian and there's no way, I think we should really ponder that. So I just threw this in here. You'll be getting some of this information that you can take home. But again, I've just listed these. We won't go through them in depth. Anything in red is what I have added. So the second one down there, repurposing existing travel lanes to prioritize active mobility, biking, walking, and transit. So in other words, narrowing the roads to make driving more challenging. Have we noticed this happening, folks? We have, haven't we? And again, additional pricing tools, road tolls, parking fees to shift demand to low carbon mode. Again, intended to make driving a vehicle more expensive and just a pain. So, and the bottom one there, requiring 100% of all registered vehicles to be zero emissions by 2050. You can find that on page 19. So essentially what I did is I went and grabbed the ones that I thought were most nefarious under this heading. And what I put down here is nudge language. So within the document, basically they're saying these are good ideas. This is what our citizens should do. We'll put it out there. It's a good idea. And then we'll slowly bring in regulation. If they don't jump on board, then it will be regulated. So it's nudge language, and you can probably see that within the streets, how we're having a lot of nudging happening within regard to our driving and our parking. Let's move on to the next topic, topic B, forcing a reduction in your home's emissions by requiring the following. So I grabbed these two. These are both from page 19. That all buildings in Calgary, so current ones, to be converted to a net zero emission standard by 2050. So that's at the homeowner's expense. That will be you paying for that. And it's out there. The federal government has put out building standards. Deep energy retrofits, search it up. You can read all about it. And within the document, they talk a lot about deep energy retrofits. Things like heat pumps, for example. And all windows, yep, special windows, special siding. And all new builds, so anything built brand new, is to be a net zero standard, including embodied carbon, by 2050. So again, this is going to increase the cost of a new build. So if you're not sure what embodied carbon is, you can go check it out. So what I like to say is, first they came for the oil and gas and coal. Look out, cement, they're coming for you next. They have their eyes on cement because it puts out so much carbon. And so that needs to be removed. Right? And we're going to come to more of that. I know. I'm with you 100%. So I'm pretty sure that most of the people in this room went to the rezoning that happened downtown, listening and giving your 2 cents to the city council in regard to the blanket rezoning. So the big thing about that, when we heard from young people, we're talking about the costs, right? The costs associated and thinking that they may never own a home. Well, if we look, and the Fraser Institute did a fabulous job of this, if we look at some of these, green initiatives that are to be put in place for new builds, on average across Canada, it's going to increase the cost of a new build by $55,000. And in Alberta, so it might be a little hard to make out. Oh yeah, it is. It's off the page a little. I apologize. $36,000. It will increase the cost of a new build within Canada. And so a great little quote that they put here is that this is going to disproportionately affect the younger and lower income people trying to enter the housing market. So doesn't it seem a little hypocritical? They want to do this blanket rezoning because apparently it's going to help young people to afford a home, and yet they want to implement, these green policies. So there's a lot of hypocrisy there, absolutely. So quickly moving on, Section C. So what about forcing a reduction in your neighborhood's emissions? So what's all involved there? Well, as I read through these, I would really like you to just think back to blanket rezoning. So focusing on land use that prioritizes a zero-emission city design, transitioning to compact mixed-use neighborhoods, planned well before the housing crisis, using updated land use bylaws to enable increased housing types. So remember, this came out in 2022. Supporting uses for complete communities to reduce dependency on private vehicles. And the last one, required 100% of provincial electricity supply to be from a zero carbon source by 2050. So, yes. So interesting how, and I'll throw this out, that complete communities is also used interchangeably with the 15-minute cities. And I kind of just couldn't help myself. That last one there, talking about the provincial energy supply. Well, again, you can go on and you can find some really, really great information. And so in regard to those countries that are implementing the green energy, so using solar panels, using the windmills, and sorry, it's off to the side. But essentially along the bottom of this is talking about the percentage of countries, or pardon me, the percentage of that country using solar and wind. And then along the side is how expensive it is. So again, it's off a little bit. So you can't quite see. But what this is saying, so the higher up it is the higher the cost. So essentially, if we follow what's supposed to happen, using this green energy, that Denmark, which is using the highest amount of solar and wind, the cost for their energy should be way down there in the red circle. Yet there isn't any in there. So great article, research done by Bjorn Lomborg. And you can go and check out, Bjorn does a lot of wonderful, wonderful research. So I digressed a little bit there. Moving on, though, talking about the blanket rezoning. And when I showed you that highlighted area, some of you may be familiar with this document. This is the one cited for the blanket rezoning and all the reasoning behind it, and you can go and check it out and read it. So I'm not sure how many people did. A few of us sat down and took a dive into it before we went downtown to speak. And what stuck out to me was, because I was researching the climate strategy document, that here they're saying that the housing strategy, it intermingles a lot of the other initiatives that they're working on. And so I took a look at that, and what stuck out to me was the climate strategy. So that caught my attention. And essentially what they say, and this is a direct quote from the climate strategy, that Calgary's population is going to grow to approximately 2 million in the next 50 to 60 years. So it is critical that a variety of low carbon, climate resilient housing types and transportation options in a variety of communities are available to Calgarians to support net zero goals. And that comes from Zero Carbon Neighborhoods within the climate document, the one I highlighted for you. So that is where all of these, I'm just going to see if I can bring it back up. That's where all of these come from. The actual zoning document points directly back to the climate document and this particular topic, and how we need to compact the city. We need to densify and get people to forget about driving a vehicle. That's going to be very important. So moving on here. So there it is again. I just highlighted it. The Zero Carbon Neighborhoods. It's on page 35. You can go and check it out a little bit more. But notice Program Pathway H. It might be hard for you to read. Focus land use planning to prioritize zero emission city design. So what a lot of people may not realize is that that blanket rezoning is tied directly to the climate plan. And if you go online and do that deep dive, it's all about densification and all about getting people to live close to transportation areas. So you read about it, don't you? Oh, that, this new development is going to be close to transit. That's what they want. Also, when you go and look online and do that deep dive, the United Nations does not want sprawl. Have you heard that term before? Urban sprawl. They don't want it. The city, one of the things that the city talks about is that they want by 2050 to have 60% of the population living within 2,000 meters of public transit. So if they want that, and our population is going up, and yet we can't go out, where do we go? Exactly. And we can see that happening everywhere within the city. So again, as I mentioned, we're getting there, folks. I just want to point out, this has been going on for a long time. You can go back, you can go do the deep dive. Pardon me. I did a few screen grabs. But again, I won't get into depth. I won't read it all. But savings arise from a more compact city. And that was a long time ago. So yep. Yes. Uh-huh.
So what has the city done?
refer back to their 2009 documents in a 2019 document. So it's there. You can go on, you can find it. It's hard to read. I highlighted a few things. Link land use decisions to transit. Create complete streets and complete communities. So those are other words for densification. And there's also pictures. You can go and see. So they had a plan in mind for this. So this was what the cities looked like. And then this was their plan. Does it look familiar? They've achieved their plan, haven't they? This is exactly what we see going on now. Narrowing of the streets, making them really small, increasing the bike lanes, increasing the walking lanes, businesses at the bases of the buildings so people can get everything they need right there. Nothing wrong with amenities, things available to people, right? It sounds appealing almost. But when you start to look at the nudge language that they use because they have an agenda, that's when you start to say something wrong about this picture. And something wrong about this picture too. I just had to include this. I got this sent over to me and I thought this would be great. This is from Edmonton. This poor homeowner now stuck between two eightplexes. What is this homeowner to do now? Nothing. He can't sell it to another person who just probably wants to live in that house, right? He will be forced now to sell to a developer, most likely, because what choice does he have unless he wants to live there? So I thought it was a very good picture to share with you folks. Can we save questions for the end, please? Because just people, absolutely, I'm happy to have questions. I just know people have been sitting a long time already, and we're almost there. So with all that said, let's take a look at this, because one of the things was we wanted to know, like, is this going to really reduce the temperature that the city's concerned about? You know, that two degree rise. And again, if you look that up, it's kind of just an arbitrary number. If you look it up and you research it a bit, it's just a number that was pulled, kind of like that 6 foot distance. Same idea. So if we take a look at Canada, Canada puts out 1.5% of global emissions, right? Look at China. China on average is putting out about, what are they saying now? About 2 coal plants a week they're building. Nothing that Canada does will likely reduce these global emissions. But let's just take a closer look at it. We got some people who run some numbers for us. Great, wonderful, smart people. And so here, it might be a little bit hard to see. Sorry, it's off a little bit, but I can read it for you. Some great work done by Richard Lindzen and company. And you can go and search that up too. I have a link there if you want to do a picture of it. But if we base it on 2 different things, CO2's warming capacity, and also on IPCC's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, which is what the city uses. They use that United Nations number, that RPC 8.5. That's what they use to come up or base their green climate initiatives on that. So if we use their science, what we come up with is that the temperature reduction globally by 2050 is going to be only 0.28 degrees. Think about the money. Let's get a little closer to home. What about Canada? So Canada then, our share of that is 1.51% of the global emissions. We got some great numbers here that were taken right from the federal climate expenditures from their budget, how much they're going to spend. So then what about Canada? If we use the IPC numbers, you can see 0.00423 degrees Celsius is how much, we're going to reduce. Wow. And let's get even a little bit closer to home. What about Calgary? So Calgary's share of that 1.51% is 1.04%. So you do some number crunching. Look at that. Decimal 0.00044 degrees Celsius. From our $87 billion plan, which is only going to get us to 2050. And then how much is it going to continue to cost us past 2050? That's going to cost our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren. This is the number proposed by our city council. So I think this is awesome that we have councillors here that can see these numbers, and also school trustees to be, hopefully, that can see some of the things that our students perhaps are being taught, and that's the reason for the anxiety. So I ask you, how does this sit with you? And I know I'm in a friendly room here, but the city of Calgary has moved way out of its lane. We know that. And so, awesome. A few things. The city of Calgary should serve the people, not global entities, right? And not their ideologies. We should take care of our environment. Absolutely, 100%. And that's one of the reasons that our emissions are so low, because of the standards that we've set already in terms of tailpipe emissions and the types of fuel that we use. Calgary's emissions are insignificant in the world. No amount of bureaucratic virtue signaling will change the climate. We don't live like in a box, right? Where, there's emissions happening all around the globe. Council's climate plan will make us poor and make life harder and will move humanity backwards. So what can you do? Well, speak up and take action. Awesome that you're here tonight. You're getting this information and hanging on through quite a few speakers. Remember that rational dissent is your right. You have a right to say, I don't agree with what's happening. And we know the whole cancel culture, climate that has been going on for a long time now. Well, that is slowly changing, and it's only going to get stronger if you speak out against it. Your silence, if you say nothing to your neighbor, when you start having a little conversation about it and just let them dominate the conversation about, how it's really important to follow this climate plan, your silence is your tacit agreement. Demand your mayor and your councillors serve you, the people, and not global entities and ideologies, Demand that your mayor and council elects repeal the climate strategy. Not just the climate emergency, but the whole strategy itself. Absolutely, 100%. So how can we help you do that? Well, I tell you what. We have created a flyer for you. Sorry, I can't stop yet because I have to talk about the action now. I'm almost there, folks. All of those topics that I showed you that were numbered, the page number with the major subheading, that is on our Net Zero Cities flyer. It is there for you to hand out to friends, to councillor-elects, mayoral-elects, so that they can be educated. We have a QR code that will take you directly to the 2050 plan, because it's hard to find, and you can go and check it out for yourself. You don't have to believe me. And on the back, we also have a QR code that will take you to what we call our Notice of Liability. If you're not sure what that is, it's a well-researched document that you can hand out to councillor-elects and mayor-elects, basically letting them know that they have a duty to the people of Calgary and not to global entities, and that essentially if they decide that they want to follow those entities, they're opening themselves up to possible liability. So essentially, if you like that councillor, it's a tool for them to say, hey, I can't follow this ideology because I'll be opening myself up to liability. So that's our, you can find that. That's just a little screen grab of our main liability page. And closing up here, Action for Canada, please sign up, join today, go to our homepage. It's pretty easy to navigate. And go and check out, we have many other topics. This is just a minuscule one. We have many, so we encourage you to do that, and we look forward to anybody joining the cause. Thank you very much for your time this evening and sitting through it. Yes, absolutely. In fact, sorry, Kim has reminded me, this is our fearless leader, Kim McBride. who is actually the national leader for Action for Canada. And we do have a meet tomorrow evening. If anybody is interested in that, we can give you some information. Thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for coming out, everyone. Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you, Renee. I have just a couple of announcements, except I can't see a darn thing up here. I think there's
Actually, I'll just announce too, we have different volunteers around the room. If you would like to take home flyers, please do. You can take a whole bunch home with you to hand out, educate yourself, educate those counselor-elects that come to your door. Thank you.
Okay, we're almost at the end of our very informative evening. And to all our counselors, please use her advice, and especially when you get into council. This month we are celebrating our 1-year birthday. Last September we had Tamara Leach as our first guest, and we have never looked back. Our hope is to grow stronger and better and bring you more awesome speakers. Thank you to the lovely ladies who help you at the door and sign you in. To Hanio, who works with our various media programs. Admission donations are much appreciated and helps with all the costs of running this. To all our vendors who come out every month, we love you, and you're a wonderful part of our evening, so please support them. And I love our 2 little entrepreneurs who are learning valuable lessons in sales and money management. There he goes. To Max from Freedom Network, who came up from Edmonton to video this. What's that? Freedom Canada? Freedom Calendar, sorry. Got it. It's going to be on that as well, so in case you would like to review any of those in the future.
The recording will be released on Thursday on Freedom Calendar social media accounts.
Okay, the Act Now website is all set to take registration for our meetings. Please register for future meetings, and kindly, please don't email me. It's going to get lost in the shuffle somewhere. So this way we know how many bums and seats we need to put into place, and this in turn helps our ladies at the door. Southside Victory Citizen Action Group is having a meeting September 28th. Could we have a little quiet in here, please, gentlemen? Thank you. It's hard to talk over top of this. Southside Victory Citizen Action Group, September 28th at 6 p.m. Cindy Dubray and Tyson Ario, am I saying that right? Okay, great. Leo Cody's event the other weekend was well attended, and everyone learned a tremendous amount of information. The money was all donated. We raised about $1,200 for him to continue doing his great work in the corrupt courts, helping others. I am delighted to announce that Mitch Sylvester, whom we haven't seen for a long time, is going to be here in October. This is also election night, so please cast your ballots early, because it's going to be an exciting night here with all of us rooting for all these wonderful candidates that we heard tonight. Now, something that came to my attention with Leo's coming here is we're going to launch a community support program called Pay It Forward Fund. So we have a box at the desk. We'll have it there every month, and thank you. It will help those unable to afford attendance. To contribute, simply drop whatever money you want to in the Pay It Forward box located at the registration table. So if you know someone who needs support, email their name and their phone number, and we'll register them as your guest, and their funds will be taken care of. So I hope that that will help a lot of other people who want to be here and just can't be. Thank you. Sean Buckley is doing an Across Canada health tour, but our timing just didn't work jointly for him to come to Calgary, so we will have him a little bit later on. Anthony, right there, raise your hand. He's having a beer and barbecue fundraiser tomorrow night downtown from 7 to 9 at the Social Beer House. Please continue to check the Act Now website, because we're going to start putting in a lot of different events that are going on and around the city. Reminder that our meetings are always the third Monday night of the month, except August. That's my time to die. The Action Market is still open, so please go and see anybody you'd like to. Our email and phone number on the website, actnow.net, act-now.net. Should you need to find out any information, text or email me with something that's coming up. So let's give a big final thank you to all our wonderful speakers tonight. We love you, and thank you so much for joining us. And safe journey home. Good night, everybody.